Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estella.
And welcome to
Cafecito and Crime. Try to spice it up, you know?
No, because that is my line. Whatever. I'm so done with you already. We just started. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome us back.
Welcome us back. I literally think that I had the ultimate everything happens to Barb moment when I had a whole ass hurricane hit my house. Like, I think that's the
but you
ultimate.
weren't the only one.
No. But me, meaning like me personally, I always have something go happen to me.
Yeah.
I think that's the ultimate.
But what about the week before?
The week before, I had a horrible week too. But what did I do the week before? I don't remember what we did the week before, but something happened to me. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But
then Beryl hit Houston, and then we were like, fuck, we were out of power. And then you had internet, but I didn't have internet for like a week. And then you got sick, and then I got sick.
Oh, I was super sick. So I'm telling you, everything happens.
Yeah.
So I went to go see my bitch ass sister
in Dallas.
Because I had to leave because my kids were gonna murder each other.
Because it was so hot.
It was hot though. Like, I didn't blame them. So, like, no one around us had light, like power. Like, you guys didn't. Like, my sister-in-law, my dad. No one.
Like 2 million people more than 2 million people in Houston were out of power.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying. It's not like we could have gone somewhere and like, we were gonna be okay. So then my husband and I took the executive decision to go, and then we get there and my sister's coughing up a fucking lung, and I'm like, this doesn't sound right.
Like, you couldn't have told me that you were sick before I got here.
No, she said that by the time when I told her we were leaving, she was already sick, but she was gonna tell me, but she didn't. Okay, bitch.
She's gonna text us when she listens to this.
I come back. Oh yeah, she's gonna text me. And then I get home, and I'm like, I literally felt like I was going to fucking die. Like, I'm dying.
Yeah.
But I didn't die, so that was good. Now I just have like I thought it was COVID. I tested, it was negative. I did have like residual like burning in my nose. Como que si traigo agua de la poo in my nose. That's how I feel. I don't know what the fuck, but anyway. Yeah. And then this week at work it's just been hell. It's been a lot going on. So we're back.
But then, a lot of people barely, I just got power not power. I just got internet a couple of days ago, so. We're
trying to get it together.
Yeah.
It was very scary. I feel like everything would have been okay if it would but I feel like it didn't even rain. Like, it wasn't like raining.
It wasn't. Well, for me, it wasn't scary. It was wind. It was just wind, and that's what knocked out the power. That's it. It didn't, like you said, a lot of parts of Houston were flooded. We don't flood, thankfully.
Thankfully.
But a lot of parts of Houston do flood, and some parts really did flood really bad. Like a lot of the freeways and stuff. And then, it was the power,
Yeah. And then
that went out.
We were trying to get out, and we couldn't get out because all of 45 was covered in like debris of like big ass trees and like power lines and shit. And so then we had to go around. It was crazy. I mean, like I said, you're okay with 1 day, 2, but then some people were like 7.
Yeah, because we got
8.
power the next day, but my sister didn't get power till Beryl hit the 8th and the lunes. And then my sister didn't get power until Saturday, and a lot of people didn't have
my
power
dad didn't
until
have
a week
power,
later, or even I think some people still now. So it was really crazy.
Yeah. So my dad didn't have power either. So
everybody was out.
I mean, I give Beryl.
No, I had a couple of friends of mine that they never lost power.
Yeah, one of my coworkers says she lost power for like 4 hours and then it came back. So that was good for her. So I give the experience of a hurricane or at least Beryl, 0 out of 10 on Yelp.
Yeah.
Because
I wouldn't even put it on Yelp.
No, I wouldn't, because it was unnecessary for you to come in here, and we were fine. We were doing great.
We've had a couple of years without a hurricane.
7 since Harvey.
And then but Harvey wasn't a hurricane. It was a tropical storm.
Well, a storm.
Yeah.
So I had put my little pool up. I cleaned. I had everything ready to go.
We were for 4th of July. It was Thursday. Harvey, hoy vergas, Beryl.
Luego pegó el lunes.
And then we were...
it's gone down. Like, I've never been the same.
Yeah. It was crazy. And then it rained before it rained that Sunday. Everybody was ready for Beryl. And then me or Barbie were like, we ain't scared of Bear.
First of all,
con un nombre like Bear? Were you scared of you, Bear?
And then I wasn't like I said, it wasn't scary, but just the fact that
the power was down.
Power was down. And the fact that your house is fucking trembling, bitch. Like my house was like shaking. It was the craziest shit ever.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And we're all like, it's fucking 7:00 in the morning. It's still black outside because of how, everything was, all I could hear was just fucking trees flying everywhere, bitch.
Yeah, branches,
all of it. It was everywhere. And my husband and I started like the next day.
Well, didn't you all of y'all like get together in la sala?
We were on the sala with the dog, and then but then the kids started trying to fight each other, and then the thing is, I
because the power went out super early on Mondays,
at 4 in the morning.
5 in the morning.
For us, it was like 4. I remember because I said that I got up to go to the restroom, and I was like, okay, the storm is about to start. And what I did get también, I was like making sure that I took my anxiety medicine. I doubled it because I'm like, I'm gonna be like anxious, right? So I slept the whole next day. So that's why, and like in the morning I was asleep.
Yeah.
But también you were like, bro, we're just sitting there. We just want to be asleep. But like,
yeah, like you don't want no one wants to move.
Yeah. And then my suegra comes over, and then, she's a typical Mexican lady. Y luego le dice a mi husband, ponte a recoger las ramas.
So yeah.
And my husband was like, yo no voy a recoger ramas.
You me voy a acostar.
Like it was so.
But then, thankfully, HEB is just, MVP of everything. HEB, everybody was at HEB. HEB stays open.
So we went
HEB carries Houston on its back when there's a natural disaster.
It's HEB and Mattress Mac.
Yeah.
Because Mattress Mac for fucking president TBH. Because he opened up and he was feeding people 3 times a day. All of those people that came to help. Like he's amazing. Yeah. I mean, Mattress Mac is a hero here. But we went to go look for food that was already made because we were tired of eating like just whatever.
Oh, then Barbie has electric stove, so she can't cook at her house.
I couldn't cook. And then we tried to go cook at my suegra's, but it was so hot that it got really hot. And then after that, we ended up stopping at HEB and getting bread and getting peanut butter and jelly. So yeah, we had peanut butter and jelly. HEB was open, and they had a charging station for everybody to charge their phones.
Walmart too.
Yeah, so that was amazing. And but it's not HEB.
No. Pero McDonald's tenía McDonald's. Pero Walmart tenía McDonald's open inside.
No, we didn't go to McDonald's.
So I went.
Yeah,
I was like, I am.
By the time that we found out,
y'all left.
By the time we found out, yes, they didn't have anything left and stuff like that. So,
damn.
But again, anyway, so yeah, that was something crazy. I do not recommend for you to.
Oh, and also it was like the earliest hurricane of the season. Like at least here in Houston or in the Texas coast or in the Gulf of Mexico, we never get hurricanes this early. It's always towards the end of August or sometime in August. So, hurricane season's not over yet. So hopefully.
And Burrow it's Burrow.
Burrow.
So he just decided to fuck shit up all the way from like fucking, I don't even know where, like in the other side of the world.
También le dio para Yucatán.
Yeah. Then I don't know if it's a he or she. I don't know. But it could be a Mitch. I'm just saying. But también pegó in like some islands. I mean, it was a mess.
It came.
It just came, and then it was supposed to originally hit in Corpus, and people in Corpus se estaban preparando. Ellos sí fueron por su comida y todo.
I feel like everybody was. Even here, like a lot of people started getting.
I think we weren't. I think we could have been better prepared.
No, I think like a lot of people figured that it was going to change course, and it did.
So but it changed course towards us.
In our direction,
So what happened was everybody was like, oh, it's going to Corpus, Even last minute, it was supposed to hit a Corpus.
Yeah.
No, that motherfucker took a sharp left.
Up. Went up.
Shook a sharp right, and it came over here.
North. So it didn't even really hit us.
No, it hit for Matagorda County, but the wind bands, and it was crazy to see. I mean, literally, the trees were like bended in fucking half.
Yeah,
like it was crazy.
It's crazy. Like when you actually drove, when you actually like drove out, like see. It was crazy.
Yeah, and then people's trampolines on the other side of the
street.
My trampoline stayed, but I did have a tree over at the neighbor's house.
Yeah, Beryl said fuck fences and fuck trees.
My fence is a mess. Like, todavía la miro, and I'm just kind of, I tell my husband, like, dude, creo está más caída. He's like, no la mires. I'm like, okay. So we don't look at it. We'll deal with it later.
We're not the only ones in it.
Bro, everybody. So, and then right now with people trying to get their money from FEMA and all of that.
No, and everybody's buying generators.
Yeah, because you never know. But I'm going to tell you something that if this happens again, I don't want to stay here.
Okay.
I want to evacuate. Maybe I'll evacuate to like California, somewhere nice.
Oh, permanently?
Permanently.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so mi pinche árbol está con el vecino allá.
Yeah.
I haven't taken it out.
I mean, dad's.
Yeah, it's kind of just there.
Yeah.
And then I look at it, I'm like, I'll come back later.
Yeah.
Yeah, pero
they're worried about it.
I mean, I don't
even think you can. I think you're supposed to call somebody to come in and grab it, no?
Well, it doesn't have any power lines. Pero, I mean, it's literally broke, like...
No, but is it like thick? Is it a thickums branch?
No, it was barely growing. It was It was my... it's a pecan tree. Yeah. Yeah,
Pobrecito.
it's gone. It's gone. No more pecan tree. But, yeah, so do not recommend.
Yeah, that was the last week and a half. It was wild.
It was wild. And just seeing, like, people could call us, but we couldn't call back.
Oh, yeah, the phone service was out, too.
So crazy.
No, not even then. A veces it was just bad. Se iba, or it would sound really staticky, or, a veces cuando hablas con alguien, it sounds like an alien.
Yeah, y luego, like, the craziness was like, okay, so you know how cuando estás en tu casa chileando, dices tú, okay, pues está caliente, you deal, you can still have, like, internet. No. We had nothing. Like, we had to look at each other and stare. Because we had nothing.
No, we played bingo and Monopoly.
Yeah, and it was so fucking hot. And then it was just, I don't know.
It was tough.
I
don't even think we got it worse as other people got it worse, you know?
No, I think we were really lucky. And the fact that, but when I was starting to get worried is when the dog started panting. Because he's not used to the heat because he's inside. So then I was like, it's time for us to go. Yeah. Then we went to Dallas and, we're getting a cat.
Yeah.
By the way. We're going to go pick her up from the cat lady, my sister. And then, so we went but the cat didn't really like food or.
Yeah. So we hope that, I mean,
she's coming to this weekend. They're going to both, either one's going to get an ass whoop or the other one. Which one is it going to be?
I don't know. It's not going to be Mari.
It's not. So her name is Mariposa Azul. But we need to post a picture of her.
Yeah.
She is so fucking adorable. And so she's ready to go in my daughter's room. My daughter's really excited.
She's not ready to go. Y'all are ready for her to come, but she's not cooperating with computer.
No, I don't
Computer doesn't mind her. Pero
computer saw her, and I think he thinks she's a squirrel. Because he's never run up on anything.
Yeah.
And when he saw her, because even the dog, like my sister's dog, I hate him, Charles. I'm like, Charles, you are... Anyway, point of the story is, with him, he doesn't care about the dog. It's just because she's so small. She's only maybe 5 months already. And she kind of looks like a bunny rabbit because she has her little ears parados así. Pero I don't know. We'll see. I've never been a cat owner. I'm excited. Let me know what y'all think about cats. Like, do you guys like cats? Does anybody have any tips for us as new cat owners that we're going to bring her in to this big ass 180-pound dog? My dog is not a small dog. He's a little bit of a bigger dog, a little bit. And so hopefully, let me know what y'all think. Like, what should I do? Like, lo dejo que they run around? Like, do I let her hurt? But I don't want her to scratch him or hurt him tampoco,
I think you need to separate them. So
no, they're not going to be together for a long time because she's going to be in my daughter's room and then he's going to be
down here
because this is his house down here. But eventually, I mean, she's going to have to come downstairs. So I mean, I think it's good for him because he's going to have somebody to play with. But I think she's going to run him for sure.
Yeah.
But today's story is brought to you by my sister Stella. So anywho.
For today's case, we're actually staying here in Houston.
Okay, so if you would like to come to our city, go ahead and grab your cafecitos.
And let's get started.
Let's take a quick break.
Persons of Interest is back, and it's bigger than ever.
That scream will echo in my head for many years.
Taser! Taser! He's gonna shoot! Oi! Shot fired! Shots fired.
He had the perfect aim.
I am absolutely stressed at that point. I have no idea where my officers are.
Persons of Interest available everywhere you get your podcasts.
Like I just said, we're going to stay here in Houston. So the fundum.
Yeah, you were mad at me because I was fucking up.
The fun, random, interesting fact that I'm going to share. about Houston has to do with the case, actually, like they're interconnected. And that is that Houston is home to the Texas Medical Center, which is the largest medical complex in the world. It is made up of 21 hospitals, 8 specialty institutions, 8 academic and research institutions, 4 medical schools, 3 nursing schools, 2 pharmacy schools, and 1 dental school. One of them is the MD Anderson Cancer Center, which according to med.uthealth.edu is, quote, one of the original 3 comprehensive cancer centers in the United States. MD Anderson is also the largest and is widely regarded as one of the foremost cancer centers in the world, and has ranked as one of the top 2 hospitals in cancer care every year in the U.S. Every year since U.S. News and World Report began its annual, quote, America's Best Hospital Survey in 1990.
Yeah, I mean, if you have cancer, like that's your first thought.
Come to Houston.
MD Anderson. Go to Houston, MD Anderson.
Yeah.
Because even like where I work or wherever, they're like, oh no, if we have cancer or somebody has cancer, we're gonna send you to MD Anderson because that's where you.
That's top
best
in the world. Like,
if
not the best place in the world for cancer and cancer research and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so,
and I'm guessing a lot of the times they have a lot of like
it's the best of the doctors are there.
Basically, yeah. Or also they have a lot. What was I gonna say? They have a lot of like help for people there. Like if people can't afford it and stuff like that. And if you have, they're more like an institution that'll help you, too. So yeah, but cancer here, you go there.
If anything's wrong with you, come to Houston.
Yeah, you could just sit at Bentop for days.
Yeah, but they'll get to you and they'll
get to you and they're going to take good care of you.
It's a trauma 1, right?
Yeah, but it'll be 3 days before.
Yeah,
we've done that before.
Yes. So yeah, now the 2 of the people that are at the center of today's case, we don't really know much about them as far as how they grew up, and it doesn't really pertain to the case tampoco. So let's just get into it. We'll begin with George Blumenschein.
Why did I think you were going to say George R. Brown? Girl, I don't know.
Not the convention center.
I don't know.
We'll begin with George Blumenschein Jr., who at the time of today's case, which took place in 2013, was a world-renowned oncologist at MD Anderson.
I was already here in 2013.
Yeah, you had been here.
Yeah.
He specialized in lung, neck, and head cancer. As I just mentioned, I don't really have any information about his early years, but what we do know is that he graduated in 1987 with a political science degree from Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee. In 1994, he graduated with his doctorate degree from the University of Texas Health Science Center here in Houston, where he also did his clinical residency from 1994 to 1997. His clinical fellowship was from 1997 to 2000 in medical oncology at the MD Anderson Cancer Center. While George was extremely busy, he did manage to find love with Yvette Toney in 1987, whom he began dating.
Can you imagine having 2 first names as names? Yvette Toney?
No, that's her first name and her last name.
But I mean, 2 first names as a first and last name, like Yvette Toney?
Toney, Toney.
Yep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy. People's name, me llamo Tony.
Yeah.
I am the Tony.
Yeah. Yeah, pero digo yo, I don't know what kind of fucking thing was that. But anyway, imagine that. That's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
I like that.
Now, initially the relationship didn't last very long because Yvette moved to Boston to pursue her higher education, but the 2 would later reconnect, los dos.
It was meant to be.
Yes. Now, Yvette, much like George, was a hard worker. She put herself through school, and she too would become a doctor, an epidemiologist. Yes, she would return to Houston in the late 1990s and early 2000s. I'm not quite sure, but that's when she and George reconnected, and they began their relationship otra vez. Now, by now, George was working at MD Anderson, and for a short period of time, so did Yvette. So they worked together. She would end up leaving MD Anderson to work in pharmaceutical research. And their relationship was still intact, so they still continued dating even after she had left. They ended up moving in together by 2007. And while Yvette wanted their relationship to progress even more, as in like marriage, George didn't want to get married.
Okay.
He was described as somewhat of a commitment phobe. So in 2009, Yvette moved out on her own.
We can only take so much.
Yeah.
Te cansa uno de estar esperando. Si no te vas a casar conmigo, vete a la verga.
Yeah. Yo ya me voy.
Yo ya me voy. Voy a buscar a alguien que sí me quiera. Shit like that.
Or somebody that wants the same things that I do.
Exactly.
Which is okay. Fair. Now, by late 2009 or early 2010, George convinced her to move in with him again. And she did. So I don't know if they were on a break or no sé qué. I don't know if she moved out and they were still dating or...
It sounds like they probably were like...
Or they were trying to work through it.
Yeah.
But she, like I just said, maybe...
Because she got mad. Se enojó de que se enojó.
Yeah.
Pero she was probably like, oh, well, let me give it another chance. Maybe if I can get closer to him again, maybe he'll ask me to marry you. They're not going to change Pookie Bear.
Yeah.
He's not changing.
And by now, she had been in the relationship for a while, Ya era, like I said, 2009, 2010. And they began dating in the late 90s, 2000s.
Danger.
And they made in the 1980s,
What the fuck?
Right. So...
And she's like, I can't wait for you.
Right.
Like, I can't.
I mean, like I just said, and they had a lot of going on. I mean, they're both doctors, imagine. Like I said, al último, he convinced her to move back in with him, and she did. And, they were in a relationship. Now, in 2011, Dr. George Blumenschein began collaborating with another oncologist, Ana Maria González Angulo.
Es todo. Todos los putos nombres.
Much like George, Anna was also considered a rock star in her field, and she was also considered a world-renowned oncologist, and her specialty was breast cancer research.
You can't call her by just Ana. You have to say Ana Maria
González Angulo.
You have to.
Angulo.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say Dr. Anna.
No, Ana Maria.
No, I'm just going to say Dr. Anna. Now, Dr. Anna was born in 1971 in Colombia in a very prominent family. They were very well connected. They were very well connected and had family connections. They were involved in the Colombian government. And when she was very young, she lost a close family member to breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
So, and it was at that moment that she knew that what she wanted to do. She wanted to find a cure for breast cancer. So she pursued her medical degree in Colombia. And she was extremely intelligent, always at the top of her class. She worked hard and was truly dedicated. And she ended up migrating to Houston for her PhD. And she joined MD Anderson in 2003. It's one thing being at the top of your class at school, but Anna was also at the top of everything at MD Anderson.
Wow.
She, and that's saying something.
That is.
We are talking about
she
the
was
medical center
too,
that has the best of doctors in a lot of fields.
She's a woman,
and she stood out with her work ethic, productivity, and again how smart she was. And she really had a passion for breast cancer research.
She's a woman. She's a Latina. And for her to be that's awesome.
And she was also loved by her patients. She had a good bedside manner and was very compassionate and personable with her patients. And since Anna spent all her time at the hospital, she didn't have much time for anything else. Like I said, she joined MD Anderson in 2003. And her and George never really interacted with each other besides just consulting about a patient here and there, right? Now, as a top oncologist, they, of course, traveled to a lot of conferences all over the world. And in 2008, Anna, who was now 37, she actually invited a group of doctors from MD Anderson which included George, to a conference in Colombia. And George was 6 years older than her, so he was 43. So she invited them to Colombia. They were like, this is my home country. This is where I'm from. And, she just kind of showed them around. They went to coffee tours and all that stuff,
That is so cool. Did you go to a coffee tour when you were in Colombia?
No.
Poop.
As I mentioned earlier, it was 2011 when George and Anna began working together. They had overlapping patients, so they decided to work together in research and drug development to target a cancer cell that involved both lung cancer and breast cancer. So they spent a lot of time together working as a team, long hours in the lab during the week and on the weekends. They went to many dinners, attended many meetings. They published peer-reviewed articles together. I pulled them up on the MD Anderson website. You could just see paper after paper after paper published. Not just them two, of course, other doctors as well. But They traveled all over the world speaking at conferences in places such as Vietnam, Colombia, Dubai, Sweden. They traveled 3 to 4 days out of the week. And they were both of them, they were very highly regarded in their fields for what they did. They were, like I said, world renowned, top of the creme de la creme. And so they became close friends, In turn, she became close to Yvette as well. Anna did, George's lifetime girlfriend. And I think by this point, George and Yvette had been dating for about 14 years.
God, dog.
Again, while George didn't want to get married, the couple still found an important step towards commitment to their relationship and each other. And they actually decided to start a family together.
Even though they weren't married.
Right.
Okay.
Which, I mean, that's totally normal. People do that nowadays.
No. I was just asking. I just didn't know. Maybe she was like, oh, maybe we're having a baby so we can get married, Okay.
Yeah. Now, since they were both in their late 40s, they had to look for like alternative options, either adopting or, in vitro and, just different options so she could conceive or they could start, their family. They were really committed to making it happen. On January 26, 2013, George returned from Houston from a conference in San Diego. Later that evening, he picked up dinner for himself and Yvette, and they each, were eating their own plate, and they shared a glass of wine. And then, just kind of, para acabar la noche, just kind of went to bed early because he wanted to wake up earlier the next day and head into the office. So that's exactly what he did. He woke up Sunday, went into the office early, and halfway through the day at around 11 in the morning, he called Yvette y le dijo que something was wrong with him and that he didn't know what it was, but he felt weird. On the phone, he seemed confused and was slurring his words. So she encouraged him to go to the ER since he wasn't somebody to complain about not feeling well. So colgaron.
They always say that the medical personnel, medical people,
doctors are the worst patients.
Are the worst patients.
Yeah.
And we are.
When Anna didn't hear back from him in a couple of hours, she thought that he had gone into the ER and taken care of what was wrong with him. But it started getting later. And it got well into the evening and she hadn't heard back from George. So since she wasn't able to reach him, she decided to start calling around to like friends and coworkers to see if anybody knew where he was. When she couldn't find him anywhere, al último le habló a Anna, and it was like a little bit after 10 p.m. And Yvette asked Anna if she knew where George was, and Anna told her that he was at her house, that she had his keys since he could barely walk. And Yvette told her to keep him there, that she was on her way to pick him up so she could take him to the hospital. So by the time Yvette made it to Anna's, nobody was there. So she called Anna, and Anna told her that George had taken his keys away from her and had driven himself to the hospital. So he was following behind him. And Yvette was kind of like a little bit annoyed. Like, why would why would you let him leave if he could kill somebody because he was slurring his words? No se podía parar, no podía caminar.
But sometimes, I mean, dude, they don't, like, you're just...
And it's a big woman, yeah.
Like, sin ni modo de ponerte enfrente de él y tirarte. Like, no, I mean, what...
He'd probably run you over.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't do that if they don't listen. And she was doing the right thing by following him. She was trying to keep him safe, I think.
By the time both of them got to the hospital, they found George outside just standing around. At least that's what some sources say. Some sources say that when he arrived at MD Anderson, he went straight to his office. But other sources say that they found him just standing outside of the ER, just kind of walking around in circles.
So explain that. So he was at the house when they both got, meaning Yvette and Anna. So at this point, 3 cars are going to the hospital.
Yes.
And then when they get there, Yvette and Anna see that George is kind of like there.
But
okay.
Like I said, some sources say that they found him in his office.
Okay.
And other sources say that they just found him outside of the hospital. So, no importa. But it's just that he was there, but he wasn't in the ER. Mm-hmm. He was being irrational, like he was being combative. Se andaba peleando, no peleando, but like he was just very...
aggressive?
He was being kind of aggressive. He didn't want to listen to what Yvette and Anna were trying to tell him, that he needed to go into the ER. They couldn't convince him. So Yvette took out her cell phone and started to record him so he could see how he was acting, that he was being strange, just kind of he was disoriented, slurring his words, that he wasn't well. Eventually, they convinced him, and they actually had to call 2 doctors to come outside and get him. so he can be taken inside into the ER.
But yeah, like you can't tranquilize him like he's not like a bear or something, you know? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You have to.
And then, you guys know everybody at the hospital, so they come in, and get him. And it was close to midnight by this point. Initially, doctors thought that he might be having a stroke since George was complaining about double vision and was not coherent. And he was having slurred speech. But after running some tests, that was ruled out. Other tests that were also done ruled out everything else. They did spine taps, MRIs, CAT scans, EKGs.
He has good insurance.
Well, he works there.
I'm just saying he has good insurance.
And they all came back clean. Mm-hmm. They didn't know what was wrong with him. And
did they do a tox?
All of it, yeah.
They even did a tox?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And a doctor not long after discovered that there was a high level of acid in George's blood. Which was causing kidney damage.
Oh, shit.
So that's what they kind of worked on to figure out what was that, and it took maybe like a day or two to find what was causing the kidney failure. His kidneys were definitely failing and he was dying. He was dying.
He was dying.
It was that rapid.
So after they calmed him down, I'm guessing lo acostaron.
Yeah.
Y le dieron medicina para calmarlo la verga.
They ran all that you could possibly think of.
Por eso te digo, pero ya ahorita ya lo tienen acostado.
Ya está en su cuarto.
Okay, ya está en su cuarto. Okay.
Ya está en su cuarto. Su private room.
No, yo estoy pensando que tú andas peleando con la gente. Like, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they're already running all this.
He has good insurance, so he had a private room.
Yeah. It wasn't until the 31st that there was like an actual breakthrough. A kidney specialist noticed a cloud in his urine. So he took
just a singular cloud.
I don't know what that means.
No, I'm just saying it sounded funny because you're like a cloud. Like there was a singular cloud in his urine.
So he took a sample of it and put it under a microscope and saw that it had crystals in it. And they were everywhere. And these type of crystals in the urine could cause the symptoms that George was experiencing. And crystals in the urine could only mean one thing: ethylene glycol. And I'll get to what that is in a second. So doctors sent an ethylene glycol test to the hospital across the street, which I think it's Methodist actually, since they were not set up to perform that type of test. And it came back negative, which wasn't surprising since the ethylene glycol lives for 3 to 9 hours only. However, the test did show a metabolite of ethylene glycol called calcium oxalate crystals, which is produced when the body breaks down ethylene glycol. Now, ethylene glycol is the main ingredient in antifreeze. So doctors immediately knew that George had been poisoned.
Yeah.
And so he was immediately put on dialysis and they contacted the police. And, he was in the ICU and all that. An investigator with the UT police named Max Souza arrived at the MD Anderson hoping to speak to George. And he managed to only talk to him for like a good 5 minutes because he was in so much pain that he couldn't continue with the questions. So obviously investigators knew that the next best person to talk to was Yvette. So they talked to Yvette and she kind of gave them a rundown of the night before and after he returned home from San Diego, which is what I already mentioned, that he picked up dinner and that.
They had wine.
Yeah, they had wine and that he was going to wake up early for the next day. Now, since Anna had been with George most of the day on Sunday, she was the next person that they needed to talk to. So le hablaron and, they let her know as such, hey, we need to talk to you. And she was like, duh, of course. But, just give me a chance. She was busy, which, I'm sure they're fucking busy people. And once I get a chance to, to talk to you guys, we'll get to that. So since they had to wait on Anna and George was still out of it, investigators began speaking to George's colleagues at MD Anderson. Now, one of the things that investigators learned was that ethylene glycol was available in their labs at MD Anderson. It is used for solutions and chemical agents. Investigators obviously didn't think that George ingested it on his own accord, so they tried to look at it from the angle of, what the doctors thought that it was, that he was poisoned. And so who would have a grudge against him that big at work, right? Colleagues couldn't think of anybody. Professionally, everybody had nothing but amazing things to say about him. Everybody raved about him. But they found out that personally, he mixed business with pleasure.
Oh, he was an asshole?
At least that was a rumor going around at the research center.
Let me tell you something. in the words of somebody that I know very well, cuando el río hace ruido, es que piedras lleva.
Yep. So the rumor was that he and Anna shared a very close bond, if you know what I mean.
That kind of bond?
And they said that he would gush about her to their colleagues, and that he even referred to her as his little princess.
Not the princess.
And then Anna también le andaban diciendo que Anna was very touchy-feely with George.
No, señor, pero esta tiene 2,000 años esperando a ese hombre.
And that's how, the rumors began. So, según que Anna también, she would buy him expensive gifts, and that she even matched like their luggage and their cars and
Not
jewelry.
The matching luggage.
But obviously there was no real proof, right? These were all just rumors.
But the matching luggage, she took it too far.
And they traveled a lot together,
she took it too far with the matching luggage.
But George's supervisor, this was a rumor, MD Anderson. So George's supervisor asked George if he was having,
Not right now that he's sick. Before this.
Yeah. Because the rumors have been going around,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is what the investigators are learning when they're talking to the colleagues at MD Anderson.
I understand, okay.
That George's supervisor asked George about his quote-unquote unseemingly relationship with Anna. And, he denied having any type of affair with her.
Yeah, of course they do.
And then when Anna was also asked, she denied it as well.
Of course they do.
However, it was something that, even though they were denying it, right, as far as people knew, they also just knew that it was true. Like, they knew it to be true, but there was no proof. Like, I have a picture of them kissing. No, you don't. It's just something that, it's true, but you can't prove it. It's just
okay, I get it.
So as investigators were learning all this information, it kind of painted a picture for them of a possible motive.
Yeah, you
right?
think? Mm-hmm.
Since it seemed that it was no secret of George and Anna's affair.
I mean, they didn't even try to hide it with the matching fucking luggage and shit.
Could Yvette have found out and then, decided to poison him? It would make it a possibility, except that, they were thinking, but she was the one that told him to go to the hospital. Mm-hmm. But what if it was out of guilt? What if,
Besides, she's a doctor, dude. Like, she would know what's going to come up on blood and in urine.
Right. Like it was a thought. It was just like they were just running through.
I know, but I'm
thoughts,
just saying, like, me personally, as I am
not a
doctor, and I am a wannabe detective, I would be like, like, she would know. Unless she's that like careless, maybe.
Yeah. A lo mejor te gana el coraje or something. You never know.
I wouldn't. Pero choice is better. They have other better stuff that can kill them faster. I'm just saying.
They weren't going to name her a suspect just yet or a person of interest. They were just going to keep their eye on her, you know?
Mm-hmm. Don't leave far.
Yeah. Now, meanwhile, the police were, going about their investigation. George, like I said, was in the ICU on dialysis.
Haciendo fiero.
Which it saved his life because he does live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Pero todavía no hablan con Ana María.
No, we'll get there.
Oh, okay.
Now, investigators finally managed to speak.
They finally
managed to speak to Anna. And I believe this was February 6th.
Porque está ocupada la compa.
Yeah. Now, during her questioning, she kind of admitted to kind of having an affair with George, but not really. Like, she didn't outright say it, but the way that she was answering questions or saying certain things kind of suggested it.
Mm-hmm.
As far as someone wanting to poison George, she mentioned to the investigators that she and George had actually received threatening letters and phone calls in late 2012.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So how long have they been in a... Wait,
Since 2011. They had been working together, right?
Working together.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So that's fucking long.
Now, on Thanksgiving of that year, George and Yvette found an anonymous letter addressed to Yvette that said, quote, "He's interfering in my work life. She's interfering in your personal life. We should meet to discuss this because things will become more complicated with Anna's impending pregnancy." End quote. Right? The place that they, that was suggested that they meet at was Starbucks. So
my favorite.
Anna and Yvette's names were even like misspelled on this letter. I don't know if it was, I'm sure it was done on purpose. So Yvette asked George, essentially what the fuck was the letter about and if he was having an affair with Anna, in which he denied. Now, at some point, they talked to Anna about the note that they received. And then Anna was like, "Hey, I'll go with y'all, or I'll go with Yvette to Starbucks and we can see who the fuck is going to meet up with y'all and send in this letter."
While you're there, give me Americano.
Yeah. But in the end, they all decided just not to go.
To kind of ignore it?
Yeah, be like, what the fuck? It's just, what is this? And when Anna finally saw this quote-unquote famous letter, she told George that it had to be somebody at work who was, quote, trying to ruffle their feathers because they were jealous of their research. And for that reason, George was kind of like, okay, well, I'm not going to call the police. They didn't threaten anybody, right? They just said, meet us at Starbucks. I'm going to tell you the lowdown of what's going on, So, they stopped thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, while they were still talking about the letter, Anna told George that he had actually received an anonymous call on her direct line at the hospital. And the person on the other line said, quote, you better stop working with him or bad things are going to happen, end quote. And she told George that she didn't pay any mind to it. She knew that it was just somebody trying to mess with her head. So she también discarded that. He was like, whatever, fucking losers. Later, she received another call, again, to her direct line at work, which, again, an unknown number. And the caller said, quote, you better leave him alone. You better stop working with him. This is a warning. End quote. And she wasn't worried about it. She thought it was just someone being stupid and playing the stupid prank. Now, something did change her mind about thinking that all this was just some stupid-ass prank. Because in December of 2012, she was assaulted.
Oh, shit. What happened?
According to Anna, on December 17th, 2 people, so a man and a woman, attacked her outside of her townhome while she was going to her mailbox. She said that she had been kicked repeatedly in the ribs and stomach and that she had been stepped on.
Girl, they whooped her.
Yeah, and she said
they jumped her.
Yeah. Truly. The attackers, it wasn't a robbery because they didn't take anything. They didn't go inside her townhome. And that before they fled, they told her, quote, you better stop working with him.
Oh, it was ass whooping time.
And yeah. Now, it wouldn't be, initially she didn't want to report it to the police, but she did a couple of days later. And pictures were taken of her where she had like bruises on her hands and like her arms and like on her stomach. And she had like one under her eye. Excuse me. Now, to investigators, they were kind of becoming sus of Yvette, She was becoming like their main suspect after speaking to Anna. Mm-hmm. She had the motive, but before they kind of either made any sort of arrest, they wanted to try and talk to George, since he was the victim in all this. He's the one that was almost killed. He was still in the ICU. And he couldn't move or get up, but he was able to tell the investigators that, yes, he was having an affair with Anna.
Okay.
Les dijo. He said that initially the relationship was professional for some months, and that in March of 2011, Anna started making advances towards him while they were working late one evening, she started sitting on his knee while they were looking at the same computer at work.
Mm-hmm. They didn't have no more computer there.
And she'd also lean on his shoulders and kiss him on the neck. And when he protested, she told him that when he protested and told her that she was touching him too much, she said that that's how they were in Colombia.
What?
I've been to Colombia, bitch. They're not like that.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he said that he tried to keep her professional, but that in September of 2011, that's when the sexual relationship began.
The fuck? He didn't go to HR.
They were away at a conference in Sweden, and they ended up staying
in Sweden? Like, come on.
If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen in Sweden.
Yeah.
And then they ended up staying in the same hotel together, and then things escalated.
Wow.
However, according to George, their sexual relationship only consisted of him receiving oral.
Oh, that makes a difference.
Yeah, they never fully consummated the relationship. He said that he couldn't have sex with Anna and betray Yvette like that.
Okay, yeah. So yo creo que está enfermo todavía de las medicines porque...
Oh, he was sick before.
Oh, this was before?
Yeah, this was in 2011.
No, I'm saying que estaba enfermo de las medicines y andaba diciendo que he didn't do nothing.
He's always stood by that they never had actual sex. There was never any penetration because he couldn't.
And he's a doctor.
Yeah, because he couldn't betray Yvette like that.
Okay.
But he was only allowed to receive oral. He wasn't allowed to give it.
Bitch, get the fuck out of here. You about to make me mad right now. Bitch, the fuck out of here.
Now, when George was asked if he thought Yvette might have possibly found out about his affair with Anna.
No affair. Giving him oral sex.
Oh, yeah. Sexual relations,
dijo el president.
And then she was the one to poison him. He rebutted that as like a possibility. According to him, she truly had no idea and only found out after he was in the ICU because he was the one who told her about it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, it's because he thought he was on his deathbed, so he needed to confess.
Oh, so he confessed. Oh my God, this is stupid. Pero dijo que a lo mejor se había dado cuenta su mujer. He wasn't sure.
No, he said the only reason she knows is because I'm the one that told her.
Pero
before this, she had no idea. She had no idea.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, because we're stupid, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that when, he told her everything, obviously according to him, Yvette was completely, caught by surprise and that she was distraught. And I can't even imagine because obviously they have been together for many, many, many years. And then you find out that he's cheating on you with somebody that also became your friend, and take out him not almost dying. And then by that point, I guess you would be like, well, fuck you. I don't never want to see you again in my life.
That's what I would think.
Right? Mm-hmm. And you might think that, but you're not like, oh, I want you to die. But here, that happened, and then he's literally almost died. So I'm sure it was just probably like a mind fuck, like what the fuck is happening? I can't even imagine.
It was too much.
Pobre señora, pobre señora. And then they were trying to have a family.
I was thinking that. Did she ever end up having, like, conceiving the baby? That's what I was thinking too. I hope she didn't, because I wouldn't want to have a baby with that idiot talking about, I only received, but that's pendejo que.
So he also added that he noticed when things started becoming strange, like weird things started happening, as far as like the phone calls and the letters and Anna's
But it
attack.
wasn't Yvette, because she had no idea, right?
According to him. Now, he proceeded to tell them that, he and Yvette were trying to start a family, and while he was having a sexual relationship with Anna, or oral relationship with Anna, Yvette got pregnant.
Oh, she did.
They weren't really they were not telling anybody. Like, they were keeping that close to the chest. So nobody knew, not even Anna. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Yvette miscarried.
Oh.
And they really did want it. They wanted to start a family. So they were both very upset and very distraught. And Anna began noticing that something was off with George when they were spending time together. And he told her that it was nothing, but she didn't believe him. And she kept pressing him for information until he told her what happened. And it was after that things started happening.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, investigators and George began looking at the situation now from a new angle, a scorned lover angle. What if Anna became infuriated after learning that George was looking to start a family with Yvette, which meant that he maybe was going to toss her aside, and in her mind, they were never going to be together anymore.
Oh, she couldn't give him oral sex anymore.
George suspected it, but he didn't want to believe it, He then relayed to investigators how Sunday, January 27th, that morning unfolded. He said he got up early with the intention of heading to work, which we already know. But then Anna asked him to pass for her, and that she was gonna make breakfast, and then they could head to the office together or to work. So he headed over there. Mm-hmm. And she made breakfast, but I think it was just like some toast and some like cheese or some shit and some coffee. And he had sips of his coffee, which she noticed was too sweet. And then they had oral sexual relations. And then
only.
Yeah. And then that they got dressed and headed to MD Anderson. Anna brought with her a travel mug of coffee that he didn't drink. He didn't drink at her house, so she brought it with her. And se lo sirvió a George in a mug at the office. And he asked Anna what was up with the coffee and why was it sickening sweet. And she said that she put Splenda in it, which he found really weird because she knew that he mostly took his coffee black. Mm-hmm. But that she was like, I just put, Splenda in it. So he saw her put her mug to his, ella también, like she was going to drink it. And so he was like, okay, whatever. And he was taking like big gulps of it.
Hell no, I wouldn't drink that shit.
But, he couldn't finish it. He said it was nasty. George said he was going to go make another cup. And Anna was like, no, I'll go do it. So she went and made another cup.
But we're Latinas. That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We take care of our mans.
So she told George, we'll finish what it's in your first cup. Porque no lo despreciara because it was an expensive coffee for Colombia or something. So he didn't really want to, but still he took a couple of more sips before saying, quote, I can't, and throwing it out and pouring more of the new coffee Anna had made and drinking some, which wasn't as sweet as the first cup. He began feeling lightheaded at around 11 in the morning. He felt intoxicated, and that's when he called Yvette.
So at this point, he's at work and he called Yvette
at 11 in the morning. That's when he started. He started feeling weird. As we know, he didn't take her advice. He didn't go to the ER. He continued to work. And a coworker that was also there later says that he looked out of it. Like George really looked out of it. And Anna, who was there too, said that to George, "Oh, you're just hypoglycemic. You hadn't eaten much." Because remember, her house, he had like a piece of toast and some cheese or some shit and nasty coffee. So,
what the worst day ever is having nasty coffee in the morning. I'll be pissed.
So Anna suggested that they go back to her townhome to get him something to eat. And so they headed there, where Anna served him a plate of sausage, cheese, and bread.
¿Más cheese? Bueno, que lo que tapar o qué?
Well, we know he's not lactose.
Yeah.
Now, while George was attempting to cut the sausage, se cortó el dedo. Now, Anna called a doctor friend of hers to come and look at it. And when the doctor got there, she also noticed George's strange behavior. So she performed a neurologic sobriety test on him. And based on his responses, she too suggested that he go to the ER. He didn't go, of course. Instead, he went to a work dinner with other doctors. There, his colleagues also noticed his strange behavior. He was dropping his utensils. He was fumbling.
This motherfucker was like this all fucking day.
Yes. He was
seeing patients.
He was just doing research.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was fumbling with his cell phone. They said that where they were sitting at the table, he got up to go to the bathroom, and it was close to like a chimney o como un fireplace, y que se dio en la madre con la corner of the fireplace en su pinche cabeza.
What the fuck?
So he was just all over the place.
¿Por qué no le hablaron call his family
his
or
colleagues
something?
told him, they were like, bro, you need to go to the ER.
Yeah, or call your wife to pick you up. You cannot drive,
And then Anna was at that dinner too.
Of course she would. Of course she would be there.
Anna was like, yeah, I'll take him. We'll take him to the hospital.
¿Qué te importa?
No, as we know, they didn't go to the hospital. They went back to Anna's townhome. Now, there, George asked for his keys, which we know, and Anna wouldn't give them to him. As we know, Yvette le habló a Ana buscando a George, and it was, like I said, a little after 10. We know what happened after that. Now, George says that after he woke up in the ICU, like in his mind, he put the pieces together, and he knew what had happened and who had done it.
Oh, he knew it.
He knew it.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Anna was now the main suspect. And when George was discharged from the hospital on February 22nd, he maintained his distance from Anna, but also didn't let her know that she was a suspect and that he suspected of poisoning him, So he also began recording their phone calls when they were talking on the phone.
O sea, creía detective el hombre.
Yeah, which were later played for the jury at trial. Now, in March, when George was scheduled to attend a conference in Italy, Anna volunteered to go with him. And she was like, boy, so I can administer your IV fluids.
Hell no. You're not administering shit.
Now, no, actually, when he got out of the hospital, ella también, she was like, well, come to my house. I'll take care of you.
No.
And then George was like, no, I'm going with Yvette. She's like, she can come too. He obviously declined. So again, he declined for her to come nurse him back to health.
I think Yvette's a doctor too.
Yes.
So I think she can take care of him.
Yeah.
If you don't, man, I'm surprised Yvette hasn't whooped her ass. I would have whooped the shit out of her.
Now, to this conference that was going to be in Italy, George planned to take Yvette with him, right? But he was later confronted by Anna for the fact that he was taking Yvette. And Anna found out that he was taking her because she logged into his United Airlines account.
Too much.
And seen who was, and she saw who was going with him.
She's taking it too far.
And then, of course, he changed his password after that.
I hope that he did.
Now, again, also in March, other strange things began happening to George related to work and such. Like emails from Anna. Like Anna sent him emails and he received them. And within those emails, there were threads about previous emails that they had been exchanging. But George was like, I never sent you those emails. What are you talking about?
What the fuck? That bitch is crazy.
Now, obviously, the IT department got involved. And
IT knows everything.
Yeah.
Girl, don't play. Girl, if you want something fixed or if you want to know something, IT knows.
Yeah.
IT knows everything.
And they concluded that someone had been tampering with George's emails. Now, it was later reported that Anna told several co-workers that she and George shared email passwords. And she even one time logged into his email to show another co-worker a picture of Yvette from George's email.
But the thing is, you would need to remember, like when you're working somewhere and
IT's going to know.
Bro, they know everything.
Yes.
They hear your phone calls. They hear what you saw. Man, they can probably follow you around in the fucking place.
Yes.
And the thing is, not only that, but you need to remember, people are watching you. Like all of these people that you think you're friends at work. No, bitch. They will sing like a little bird. If they're about to tell me, I'm about to put you in jail if you don't tell me, bitch, I'll be, not me.
Tell you.
I'll tell you.
Now, investigators worked on a case against Anna for about 3 months, trying to gather all the proof that they needed to finally arrest her, which they did on May 29th of 2013. She was arrested in the parking lot in the parking garage of Andy Anderson as she was leaving work for the day.
Aw.
She was told that she was being arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Now, her trial began on September 13th of 2014. She was 43 at the time and was on trial for a first-degree felony, which carried a sentence of 5 to 99 years in prison.
Danger.
Prosecutors presented their case to the jury as Anna taking her relationship with George, or her affair, more serious than he did.
It's an oral
sexual relation. They called it fatal attraction.
Hey?
George only saw it as a fling, and he wasn't gonna leave
because he was
Yvette.
only oral.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna leave Yvette.
No, he wasn't.
His long-time girlfriend of almost 2 fucking decades, whom he was looking to start a family with. That fact pissed off Anna, and
Try to kill him.
Who had become obsessed with him, and if she couldn't have him, no one would. So George took the stand on September 19th to testify against Anna. He stated how he spent Sunday with Anna, what we already know. Regarding the affair with Anna, he stated that he regretted it deeply and had no doubt that it was Anna who had poisoned him, and it had been with the coffee that she insisted that he drank. He also mentioned what I just mentioned not too long ago, that he recorded their phone calls. The tapes were played, which were hours upon hours. The tapes were played in court, which were hours upon hours of audio. In some of the recordings, bro, she called the police amateurs, essentially. She said, well, I don't think this dumbass is going to find anything, end quote.
Oh, not the police. Bro, they could, oh, Lord.
In another recording, the jury heard where Anna tells George that she found another note on her front porch that said, quote, "You finally left him alone. Good," end quote. She stated that it seemed like he had been there a while because it had gotten wet by like her sprinkler system or something. And when George was onto her by this point, right? He was recording all this shit. So George told her, "Hey, why don't you get the police involved?" And then like she finally admitted that she had made it up.
But, oh my God.
So the jury's hearing all of this, you know? It was also discovered and presented in court that the phone calls that she said she had received to her direct line at work were false.
Oh my Lord.
Phone records did not show any calls coming into her office at the date and time she stated that she received them. Now, I know you're asking about what about the assault that she was assaulted outside of her home. Well, according to prosecutors, her bruises, /injuries did not match the type of attack that she was stating she was a victim of.
She's a fucking liar, bitch.
They were on a smaller scale than what she had described. On her stomach, the bruises looked, you know when somebody pinches you and you bruise? That's sort of what they look like, at least to me. And the scrapes on her hands and her arms looked like she had just gone through some like branches or some shit.
So this motherfucker told people that she got her ass whooped or jumped and people were pinching her.
No, that to me, that's what it looked like. No. That's just what it looked like to me.
I can just imagine that. Let me beat the shit out of you by pinching your ass.
That's what it looked like to me. I'm not saying that that's what they said, but that's what they looked like to me.
Can you imagine? Like, yeah, they whooped me. Like, she's over here talking about they beat her and shit.
Now, the only person with the opportunity also to poison George was Anna and not Yvette, as Anna's defense was making it out to be, because that's what they were doing. According to medical experts, George was poisoned with ethylene glycol, and based on tests, it occurred on the morning of January 27th. If Yvette had done it, it would have had to have been on Saturday when he got home from San Diego. And by the time he made it to the ER on Sunday, the intoxication would have worn off by then. Now, according to Anna's defense, they disagreed with the timeline put forward by the toxicology experts. There was a very slight chance that the poisoning could have happened the night before when he was with Yvette, technically. But again, very, very small, but it wasn't 0% chance, you know? They also argue that Yvette had more motives than Anna. Here she was being cheated on by her partner, again, of almost 2 decades, even while they had already decided to start a family. So she became infuriated and decided to poison George.
Pero George dice que no sabía.
Right. And Anna was not obsessed with George like the prosecution made it out to be.
She sounds pretty obsessed to me.
She took the relationship as it was, a fling, like George did, you know?
Of years.
So she did not feel threatened by the fact that George and Yvette were trying to start a family, since when Yvette was pregnant, before she miscarried, George was still having an affair with Anna.
Yeah.
And that there was no fatal attraction of any sort. And also, now this is kind of going back to what you said earlier, which this is what got me too, honestly. The defense also argued that why would a brilliant scientist poison her lover with a simple traceable poison?
It's stupid.
Right?
I'm saying.
Wouldn't she have used a poison that no one
would
be able to trace?
You know this stuff. Like, you know fucking chemistry.
But are you like so stupid that you become dumb? Yeah. I mean, are you so smart that you become dumb?
Sometimes I think so, that happens. I can't relate.
You know, when they say that when you're in love, like logic goes out the window or something, but so does...
I don't know, Estela, pero my deal is... Sí, porque... Okay, let's think about it. Let's be honest. Okay, let's say Anna was like, you know what? I'm going to poison this motherfucker. Right? Okay. Pero you're going to poison him, but at the same time... But she didn't poison him enough to kill him. Yeah, because she could have killed him.
She almost did.
Like, if she wanted to, she could have.
If he wouldn't, I mean, obviously she delayed him going to the hospital the whole Sunday.
I know. Well, she delayed him going to the hospital. She had him at his house. Yeah. She could have given him more of whatever.
Pero ¿dónde se le iba a dar? You know, because he wasn't drinking.
Well, no, pero let's just say, like, maybe she knows how to use needles. She knows.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that point, that specific point to me, like we were saying earlier, you're like, so are you that smart that you're dumb?
That's where I was getting to. You know? Like, you could have, me personally would have probably done it a little bit different. Pero let me tell you something.
Like, you wanted to get caught.
I think, not maybe she wanted to get, I don't think she wanted to kill him.
She wanted to fuck him up a little bit?
She wanted to fuck him up and then bring him home and take care of him.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah,
to be honest, that's exactly what I think happened. Like, I feel like she was probably like, well, if I give him this or this, that's going to be too far. If I give them this or this, it's going to be a lot, or they'll find like a puncture wound or whatever. But if I give them a little bit of this, it will be very hard for them to find it because it was in his urine. Yeah. So it's kind of hard for...
You have to look for it.
You have to look for it, yeah.
And like you said, that test, they didn't even have it set up at MD Anderson. They had to ask for the hospital across the street to run that test.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that in her mind, she's like, okay, if I get upset... I mean, if they make me upset or whatever, I can... make sure that he comes back to me. Yeah. Because she wanted him to go back. She said she was obsessed. I mean,
she was going to take care of him.
She was going to take care of him, yeah.
And remember, all the defense has to do is just raise reasonable doubt. That's all, you know, that's all. In the end, on September 26, 2014, the jury did found Ana Gonzalez Angulo guilty. During the sentencing, she was eligible for parole, so there was a possibility that she didn't have to serve any jail time or any prison time. In the penalty phase, her defense attorneys argued that she belonged during her amazing cancer research in her lab and not behind bars. They even had some of her patients come and testify to her character and her brilliance, and there was a specific patient of hers that she was crying, and she's like, I've been battling cancer since 1995, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here.
Well, the thing is, we also have to remember, you know, like you said, are you so smart that you're dumb? No, it just, some people are smart in other ways. Like, some people
like street smart.
No, not even street smart. Like, maybe in her mind, she loved what she did and she loved that. So she was that.
She was a brilliant doctor.
Maybe, I mean, she just wasn't a good person to be in a relationship with, you know, obviously. But it doesn't mean that it made her a bad doctor. That's not what it is.
No, of course not. But
so I think that's what the people were trying to say.
No, they were just trying to say that she shouldn't get any prison time.
I think she should.
Yeah.
I mean, but she still did something. She still made a stupid ass decision.
He could have died.
He could have died.
He almost died.
So you're telling me that it's okay for you to have somebody around that's gonna give something like that to? But what about if it was a patient?
And he wasn't just anybody either. Not that, not depending on what you do, like your life doesn't matter. But this was another world-renowned oncologist as well.
Yeah. So
it wasn't just, Joe Smo,
I don't think she was trying to kill him. Because I'm pretty sure she could have killed him.
So she was sentenced on September 29th to 10 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Mm-hmm. She was eligible for parole in 2019. I couldn't find anything of her. I don't know if I wasn't doing it right, pero no pude encontrar.
She probably
lost her license.
No, she lost her license. She probably moved back to Colombia. Yeah.
Now, George and Yvette, as far as we know, like they remained together after everything happened. I'm not sure if they're together now. He still is on the MD Anderson website. He obviously suffered permanent health issues due to the poisoning.
Yeah, like kidney failure.
Yes, his kidneys
only
function at 40% efficiency. He can't drink alcohol, has to keep a vegetarian diet, and gets tired easily.
I can't do that. Not drink alcohol and be a vegetarian? Fuck it.
And that's the case of the poisoning of George Blumenschein.
That is so crazy. But you know what?
It's crazy. I mean, you're doing amazing things. Mm-hmm. In this world.
But it goes back to the same thing that they like those people some people that are like that. It's like, they're just not, they don't see things reasonably. And she was in love with him, I guess. And,
obsessed.
I mean, in her mind, she was in love. But I really do think that if she wanted to kill him, she would have killed him. I think she wanted to make him sick enough that she thought he was going to need her. And that's why when he came out the hospital, was like, oh, come home with me. And he's like, oh, no, bitch.
And then he said, I'm going with the event. She's like, she could come too.
I mean, at this point,
she wanted to be
like,
sister wives.
I think at this point she just wanted to be with, because she's like, oh shit, I took it this far to like almost kill this guy, and he doesn't.
I'm gonna take him any way he wants to come over here.
And then the thing is, he's like, I don't want you, and she's like,
you're trying to kill me, bitch.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, but she was probably like, bro, like, you need to stop. But in her mind, she was probably like, man, I'll take it anyway. Like you said, that I can have it. But I mean, I think it's possible. There's how many doctors?
I mean, this isn't the only case.
Exactly.
Like,
do you know how many people do some dumb shit like that one lady, that astronaut that wore diapers all the way, I don't know where, to run over somebody? Like, bitch, what the fuck are you? Yeah. You're a fucking astro-fucking-naut. Like, what the hell are you thinking? You know what I mean?
To Florida, she drove.
To Florida, guiándose aquí, como like, what the fuck is wrong
over a man?
Over a man's. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like, I feel like
logic goes out the window, pues.
Yeah, logic goes out the window for a lot of those people, and I am so sorry for them, because I mean, like you said, they're so fucking smart that they don't even know how to logically think. Okay, like in their mind, they're.
Pero también, in a way, and we keep going back to this, they would say that she was like on the brink of greatness in cancer research and drug development and clinical trials, and they both were, but especially her,
messed up your life.
And I'm saying you're saving people's lives.
Yeah.
You're people, hold you to the highest standard. I mean, and that's not, a reason, people make mistakes, obviously, but you try to, I don't know, like, I can't. You're so smart and you do all this great shit, and
once again, it's the path. Yeah. It's the path of what it is. It's like it's the path of them being like, okay, this is my love life.
Yeah, it's like, different than your professional life.
I'm talking about my emotions and shit. Yeah. Your professional life is up here,
and the others are
and
here,
other ones down here in your heart. So I can see how that happened, but I can see how it could have gone way worse, and he would be dead. To be honest,
I mean, yeah, he was a cheating scumbag, but that doesn't mean he deserves to die.
No, Estela wasn't cheating, because they were only having oral sex.
No, it's an affair. Because he's like, I had an affair with Anna, but it wasn't a sexual. It wasn't.
And she was okay with just giving him head every single day of her life. Then more power to you, girl, because good for you.
But anyways, that's today's case.
On the flip side, I forgot to mention something at the beginning. It was my sister's birthday. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She turned 45. Thank you very much.
That's the age that you're closest to.
Shut the fuck up. And so I just wanted to wish you another happy birthday.
Thank you.
And I want everyone to wish her a happy birthday in our actual comments. So if you'd like to comment on any of our posts, you can at
Cafecito and Crime Pod. Mm-hmm. And you can download our episodes, share our podcasts if you can rate us.
And say happy birthday to Estela.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll be back with the new episode next Thursday.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm just, making sure.
Anywho, y'all have a good night. We'll talk to y'all.
Day.
Or day. Or we'll talk to y'all next time. Bye.